Today it's 9 practice amps to avoid. Most of these amps are really... Hello and welcome to another video with me, Elmo J. Karjalainen. It's good to have you along. Recently I did a video on the top 10 practice amps ever, and someone in the comments suggested, why don't you do a top 10 practice amps to avoid video? So this is it. Now I like to be a more positive person, but sometimes you just have to be honest, and I really disliked most of these amps. A couple of them are on this list for other reasons, or at least one. Now this video is based on my subjective experiences of these amps, so you're free to disagree. That's what's great. We're all different. If we were all the same, life would be boring. So let's get to the list. These are in no particular order except for the last two. They really are the worst amps that I've ever tried, I think. So, number 1. The Blackstar ID Core 20 version 4. The reason for this, why this amp is on this list, is that it's supposed to be an upgrade on the old ID cores. I didn't like those too much, but at least they're not bad enough to make a list like this. But it was an upgrade and a scaling up in price, and I just don't get it. It's a bit like the Katana Gen 3, where the price hike isn't really justified in my opinion, but this is almost worse than maybe you could include the Katana Gen 3 here as well. If you want an ID core, get one of the older ones. Here are some of those sounds from the ID core. Next one, and like you might expect, I don't actually have any of these amps anymore because I moved them on very quickly. It's the Line 6 Catalyst 60. Now these have actually, a lot of these appeared in various top practice amp lists by Guitar World, Music Radar and stuff like that. The Catalyst at least was on at least one of them, and I mean, really seriously avoid it. It's just so boring. So boring. And it's 60 watts. And it makes this list, partly because it's so boring. The overdriven sounds sound nothing like... I don't know, they just sound like nothing. But because it's mentioned as one of the top practice amps in the world, at least by Guitar World, I thought I'd include it on this list. It's not a practice amp. If it's 60 watts, actually Guitar World had a 100 watt version. But yeah, I don't think. Just steer clear of this. Number 7. The Fender Champion 50 XL. It costs €275, which admittedly is not a huge amount. Some of the sounds were usable, but then again some were comedy gold. I thought the amp was terrible. The sound is very dark. I'll add treble and drop bass. So bass is now at 9 o'clock and treble is at 3 o'clock. Didn't do too much. I'll just drop bass altogether and add treble all the way up. Then it has British plus distortion. Why is it so dark? It's insanely dark and the bass is all the way down and treble is all the way up. I'll just see what happens when I do the opposite of bass all the way up and treble all the way down. Oh my God. What is this? Now, in the interests of balance, I would say instead of getting a Fender 50 XL, get the Fender Mustang 25 LT or 50. It's cheaper and it's way better. See, I'm trying to be kind to Fender, which leads to my next point, really. People have complained about the Fender Champion 50 XL video and said, why would you put the tone pots in the position I did? Well, because when I tried to put them in a more kind of sensible position, it still sounded extremely muddy. So I wanted to see how muddy it gets. Putting the pots on anything else in the position that I did with the 50 XL, you wouldn't get something like that. You would get something, yeah, I don't know. But that was just comedy gold. And I like something that's funny. You might not find it funny, but I did. I thought it was funny. And keeping with that theme, amps that I've reviewed where the videos have gotten me a fair bit of stick, let's say, is the Marshall Code 50. I made 3 videos about the Marshall Code. I made them ages ago, and I still get hate for those. And you know what? I'm sticking by everything I said in those videos. I thought the amp was absolutely horrible. Maybe it does do some sounds well, and maybe it did. It's been ages ago, I can't remember anymore. But the types of sounds that I wanted were horrible. And people have said, well, you have to turn off the cab sim. Well, I did. And it didn't help. It just sounded a different kind of horrible. And I made 3 videos because I love Marshall. So I have Marshalls, and I wanted to like it. It would have been an ideal solution, kind of, to have a Marshall at home. And people have accused me of not really giving it a chance. I made 3 videos about it. What do you want? How much do you want me to keep trying? I thought it was absolutely a turd. Next up, we have the Peavey Viper X1. 259 euros, same as the Marshall, by the way. And this was just... It was cheap, and I don't mean in terms of price. The build quality seemed cheap. Poorly made. I think there were resonances and stuff. Ugh. And it just sounded terrible. Sorry. I think Steve Vai could use this for beekeeping. Sounds like a bunch of bees. Next up, we have the Orange Crush 20 RT. I've liked me some Orange amps. I've liked the Dark Terror, the Terror Stamp. But this one, no, I didn't like it. The cleans were usable, I suppose. It just cost 222 euros, which is very affordable. But the overdrive section was just... not very good at all. It might just be that it's an acquired taste. It might just be that my tastes are such that I didn't like it. And that's something for you to consider when watching any of my videos. or anyone else's videos? Do your tastes align with the tastes of the person making the video? Take everything I say with a pinch of salt. Here's the Orange Crush. Second. That's the reverb. It doesn't seem to like that. I dropped level halfway. Okay, then we get to the next one, which is here purely because of price. It's the Yamaha THR-32 wireless. It's not a horrible amp, but it costs 589 euros here in Europe. If you want the wireless sender with it, you have to pay 115 euros more. You're getting close to, it's like 700 euros for a practice amp. Are you kidding me? If you want wireless, get something else and get a wireless. If you don't want wireless, you get one of the smaller ones, the THR-10. Or if you want something that size, get the Spark amp or get the Hotone Pulse. I thought the Hotone Pulse was borderline overpriced, and that was like 400 euros. Without the wireless transmitter, this is almost 600 euros. There ain't no justification for that price. That's my opinion. Save the money, get something else. we get to two amps that I think were truly horrible. The code maybe almost makes this, yeah, I don't know. The first one was really cheap, just 77 euros. And it was so bad. It's the Behringer HA10G. Add some more gain. Drop treble all the way. Let's see if I add some treble, because this is sounding really nasty. If you want something like this and similar type of price, get the Harley Benton HB20R. Much better. But the Behringer was... The Behringer, I thought, was the worst amp in the world. Until I tried the next one. The next one was about as useful as a fart in a bag of crisps. Because that's kind of what it sounded like. It was like an angry bunch of bees in a tin can with chainsaws. It was the Fender Frontman 20G. Let's see what the gain channel does. And it costs 115 euros. If you want that kind of solid state amp sound, you can get that with the Behringer. And I thought this was basically a cynical cash grab by Fender. I mean, if you want the Fender cleans that some people say you get with the clean channel of this amp, I disagree, by the way, but I did think the cleans were, well, borderline usable. But if you want the Fender cleans, get something with just the clean channel. I don't think this amp had any redeeming qualities. And again, if you want Fender cleans, get the Fender Mustang 25 LT. It's versatile as well. The cleans were much nicer, in my opinion, than in the Frontman, and it wasn't that much more expensive. If you want overdriven sounds, again, the Harley Benton HB20R or maybe a Marshall MG. If you want the similar type of amp, just skip the Fender Frontman. Now, the purpose of this video is to help you by saving you time and or money so you don't buy something that you end up regretting later on. But like I said, take everything that I say with a pinch of salt, because your tastes might not align with mine. These are just my observations of these amps. And I'll get back to a more positive thing next week, hopefully. Depends on what I'm reviewing or what I'm doing. But I do like to try to keep things a bit more positive than this. With that in mind, if you want to check out a video with the top 10 practice amps in the world ever, in my opinion, that video is here. And in keeping with trying to help you, I won't ask you for any kind of support on Patreon or anything like that. I just hope you have some use of this video, and I hope you have a nice day. Take care. See you. Bye.